In this session, we will have a much more look towards the trigonometry, the theories related to the trigonometry. In the previous sessions, we have discussed about the theories related to trigonometry, and apart from those theories, today we will start the discussion of about these theories, starting from the sine law and the cosine law. Suppose that if you are having an acute angle triangle, generally if you are, we can see it for any angle, but here I have used the acute angle triangle to define the sine law. If you are obtaining the sine law, when we are trying to obtain the sine law, then we can here suppose that this is the triangle we are having, and if we are having this triangle, and if I draw it in this way, we can name the sides and the angles accordingly. Suppose that we are drawing a triangle in this way. Suppose that these are the value, or these are the points that we are noting down. Here this is the point A, point B and point C. Since this is point A, we have to name the angle associated with point A as A. The angle associated with point B is marked as B, and the angle associated with point C is marked as angle C. And here we can see that I have used the uppercase letters to mark the points as well as the angles. And based on this notation, we can extend this up to the marking or denoting the length of the sides as well. Here we can see that the length BC, or the side BC, is exactly directly opposite to the angle A. Therefore, we can say the BC length is given as the length A. Here we can see that the AC length, it is exactly opposite to the angle B. Therefore, we can name this length. The length AC can be named as B. Then the length AB is exactly opposite to the angle C. Therefore, this can be marked as the length C. Therefore, when you are marking the angles, you have used the uppercase letters. But when you are using, or when you are use the letters to mark the sides or the lengths of the triangle, you have to use the lowercase letters. Therefore, first we will discuss about the sine rule or the sine law for a triangle. Here what we are going to do is, if we are having, we are taking the ratio between the sine or the sine value of the given angle divided by the length which is opposite to that angle. Therefore, we can say that the sine rule can be defined as here, if we are starting from the angle A. Therefore, we can say the sine value of angle A has to be divided by the length which is opposite to the angle A. Here it is taken as A. Then this would be equal to, here we are having the value as sine B. The angle is B. Then its sine value has to be divided by the length opposite to the angle. It is B. And then we have to divide sine C, and it has to be divided by the angle C. Therefore, this is what we are defining as the sine rule for a triangle. And thereafter we will see about the cosine rule for an triangle. Here we can see that we are saying sine rule. It is because we are taking the sine ratio of the angle, and now we will try to define the law which is associated with the cosine values. Therefore, if you need to, suppose that if you know about here what we are using is law of sine. Is suppose that if you know about two angles and one the side of, or the length of one side, then the others can be simply obtained by using the law of sines. And for the law of cosines, if you know one angle with two other sides, then we can use, in such situations we can use the law of cosines to calculate the length of the side. Therefore, the law of cosine is defined as, if you consider about the length A. Suppose that you need to find out the length A, then go according to the cosine rule or the law of cosine. What we can say is we can equate this A squared can be considered as the square term of the summation of the square term of the remaining sides. It is B squared minus plus C squared, then minus 2 times the multiplication of the length of the other two sides. It is B and C, then multiply it with the cosine value of the angle which is associated with this length A. Therefore the angle or the A is the length opposite to the angle A, therefore we are using that angle here. Therefore if you know about uh, the angle A and the value for B and C, we can easily use the cosine rule to obtain the value for a length for this BC or the length A. Therefore, we can apply it for the other two sides as well. If you need to obtain the value for B, then we can take it as B squared is equal to A squared plus C squared minus 2 times AC times cosine B, and then C squared can be taken as A squared plus B squared minus 2 times AB times cosine C. Therefore, this is what we have defined as the cosine rule. And thereafter, we have to, this is what we have defined as the sine rule and the cosine rule. And then we will quickly discuss about the sum to product identities. When we are discussing about the compound angle formula, I have stated that if we are having sine A plus B, this is not generally equal to sine A plus sine B. Therefore, sine A plus B, it is a complete different technique once you compare it with the sine A plus B. This will satisfy in generally, but there are some other cases or special cases where we can find out the appropriate values for A and B, which satisfies this with the equal sign. But in general, we can see that sine A plus B is not equal to sine A plus sine B. But in the situations of having the sum to product identity, here what we are going to do is we are going to find out, uh, here we are having sine A, and what we are going to do is we are trying to add this sine A with another sine value. Therefore this can be taken, or this can be simply written as the product identity as well. Here we are having the summation, then we are trying to convert it into a product. Here we can see that we are having the summation of the trigonometric ratio sine A with sine B. We have to add them. Now what we are going to do is we are going to find out an equivalent product identity, or the product, or an equation with the products which is equivalent to the summation of these two sine angles. Therefore what we can do is here we are adding the two sine values. Therefore this can be obtained as 2 times, it is sine A plus B over 2, sine A plus B over 2 is considered, and then this is having the multiplied with cos A minus B divided by 2. Therefore if you can, this can be the equal quantity if you need to take the sine A plus sine B. But if you are just using a calculator, we do not need these identities. But if you are doing the calculations manually, instead of taking sine A and sine B, then in such situations we can replace these sum with the product identity. Therefore this will make our calculations very easy. But once you move for the proof, these identities will be widely used in. And the next thing is it is the difference of two signs. Therefore if you ask to find out the value of sine A minus sine B, the difference of two sine values, then this can be taken as 2 times cosine value of a plus b over 2, cosine of a plus b over 2, then multiplied with sine a minus b over 2. Therefore, first we need to take the summation and then divide it by 2 and take the cosine value, then take the difference. Here we are not going to change the order. The first value which is mentioned here is taken, and then we have to subtract the second value mentioned from the first value and divide it by 2. Then we will move for the addition of two cosine values. Here we will consider about the addition of two cosine values. Uh, to have the addition of two cosine values, it is cosine A plus cosine B. Then this can be taken as 2 times. Here we are taking cosine A plus B over 2, cosine A plus B over 2, then multiplied with cosine A minus B over 2. Cosine A plus B over 2 times cosine A minus B over 2. And now if you consider about the difference of the two cosine values, here we will take it as cosine A minus cosine B. This can be taken as minus 2 times. Here we will take this as minus 2 times sine A plus B. Here we will take minus 2 times sine A plus B over 2 times sine. Here we are changing the order. Here we will take it as b minus a divide by here we will since we have taken the negative sign, we will write it as it is a minus b divide by 2. But this quantity will be again equal to 2 times sine a plus b over 2 times sine b minus a divided by 2. It is because in the previous session we have learned that sine minus alpha is equal to minus times sine alpha. Using this concept, we can include or we can insert this minus sign for the latter term or the laterally mentioned term. Therefore, instead of a minus b, we can consider its the negative with the negative sign. It is because we can include this negative sign inside this sign function. Therefore, here we had the equality as minus sine alpha is equal to sine minus alpha. That is why we can now change this minus 2 to plus 2, having the change of the a minus b as b minus a. Therefore, these are the four quantities that we are considered as the sum to product identity. These are supposed to be the sum to product identities. Okay, now we will move for the graphs of the trigonometric functions. Here, these are the graphs which have obtained from substituting the values from the function. Here we can see that the first graph is for the sine function. Suppose that if you are having the sine theta, if you need to obtain the graph of sine theta according to the value of theta. Okay, right. Apart from theta, I will take it as sine x. Here we can see that along the x-axis, the value of x has to be substitute here, and then the associated sine value for this value x has to be obtained, and then it is plotted. Now you can see that if you see about this point, we all know that value of sine 0 is equal to 0. Then value of sine phi divided by 2, it is equal to 1. Then value of sine phi, it will again become 0. But once you come to the value of sine 3 phi over 2, it will again becoming minus 1. Then 2 phi is again becomes as 0. We all know that according to the quadrant rule also, we have identified that here we had this 0, it is quite as 5 divided by 2, then 5, then this was 3 5 divided by 2. Thereafter we can make this as 2 times 5, then it is 5 times 5 divided by 2. Then here we had 3 5, then here we are getting 7 5 divided by 2. Likewise we are getting 4 5 here. Therefore it is just a continuation. Therefore in that way we can continue our sine graph as well. Sine 0 start from 0, then 5 divided by 2. Then again, if you come to this axis, it is again becoming 0, but once you come to this axis, it will be equals to minus, and it is because we know that in the all sine, tan and cosines will be only the plus signs. Therefore, if you consider from the 0 to 5, it will have the plus value. You can see that in the graph as well. We can see that it is behaved at the direction of this plus value. For the sin x, here we will take this axis as the sin x. Then but if you moving it from the 5 to 2 5, now it is in the direction with the third and the fourth quadrant. In the third and fourth quadrant, you can see that sign value is also sign value will be become negative. Therefore, we can see that in the region of 5 to 2 5, then this value is becoming a negative value, and at the value of sine 3 5 over 2, it has the value, the minimum value as -1. But if you do it in the other way around, if it is in the minus direction or in the anti-clockwise direction, this with the clockwise direction, here we are taking it as a -5 over 2. If you are measuring the angles in this way, you can see that in this part, it is still in the minus direction. It is because it is still in third and fourth quadrant. That is why we are getting this as minus sign up to -5. It is because we are measuring the angle in the clockwise direction. Here you can see that from 0 to -5, you had the negative values and the minimum was -1. And then we can see that apart from this -5, once you come back to -2 5, it is now has fallen into second and first quadrant. Therefore, you can see that the plus values has taken for the sin x or the sine function, and the maximum is equal to 1. Therefore, this is said to be the sinusoidal graph or the graph of the sine function, or this shape is said to be the sinusoidal shape. Therefore, you can see that the values for sine x, if you are taking the values of sine x, this can be the maximum is 1, and here we can see that it is in between plus or minus, and therefore we can say that the magnitude of sin x is less than or equal to 1. Therefore, if it is a sine function, the maximum value that you can take is 1, and the minimum that you can take is -1. Therefore, within +1 and -1, this graph varies. But once you try to graph this with the cosine x, here we can see that the value x is here, then the cosine values are drawn here. Now you can see that at the value of x equals 0, we know that the cosine 0 has obtained as 1. Therefore, using that concept, we can see that cosine 0 is 1. Then cosine 5 over 2 is 0, then cosine 5 is -1. Here you can see that once you come to the first quadrant, you can see the first quadrant, you can see all positive, therefore cos is also positive. But once you come to the second quadrant in the sense, the angle from 5 over 2 to 5, 5 over 2 to 5, we can see that it is a negative value, as well as here we can see that tangent is the only positive value we are having. We can see that sine and cosine should be negative. Therefore, we have to say that from 5 over 2 to 3 5 over 2, we can see that all the values are becoming negative values. And here we can see that the minimum value that we can take throughout this region is -1. Likewise, if you extend this, we can again, it will be extend at 3 5 over 2, it is 0, and again once it come to 2 5, then it will become the value as 1. Therefore, this is the graph of cosine, and if you measure the angles in the clockwise direction, you can have the minus values. Therefore, those minus, once you plot those minus value, again you can get the graph in this form. Therefore, this is supposed to be the graph of the cosine function, and here also you can see that cosine graph is also in between +1 and the -1. Therefore, we can say that the modulus of the cosine x is always less than or equal to 1. It is because cosine function is always in between +1 and -1. You can see that the graph is never going beyond the +1 or -1. And here the graph for the tangent x is mentioned here. You can see that in the first and the second graph, you have observed that those are two, the both graphs are continuing graphs. But once you see about the graph of the tangent function, you can see that the graph is not a continuing graph. There are some discontinuation in this graph. Therefore, you can see that in the multipliers of this 5/2 or the odd multipliers of 5/2. Here we can see that there are discontinuation. It is quite as the odd multipliers of 5/2. Here you can see that 1 times 5/2, 3 times 5/2. Then for the negative side also -1 times 5/2 and -3 times 5/2. Therefore, in the odd multipliers of 5/2, we can see that in the odd multipliers of 5/2, it is for the negative or positive direction. There are discontinuation, but once you consider about the even multipliers of 5/2 along with the 0, you can see that it's 0, 5, 2, 5. You can see the values are becoming 0. And from the plus infinity to minus infinity, the graph extends. Therefore, you can see a type of discontinuation graph in this for the tangent x. Therefore, the tan x value is going from plus infinity to minus infinity. Therefore, we are not going to that much worry about this value. Therefore, we can say that tan x is the maximum is plus infinity and the minimum is minus infinity. Here we are not going to use the equality. It is because we are defining it with the maximum is taken at the infinity. Therefore, these are the graphs of the trigonometric functions which we are widely using: sine x, cosine x, and the tangent x. And then we have to move for the next part. It is the general solution. And if we are having the sine theta is given as k, then we can find out the theta in the form of n times 5 plus minus 1 to the power n times alpha, where alpha is the associate acute angle we are considering. And the next case is here we can say it is because if it is sine theta equals k, in using the graphs you can see that if you are getting the same value, then at this point, if you are having the sine theta as half, then at this point you will get half, at this point you will get half, and also this point you will get half, and also this point you will get half. Therefore, there is no any we cannot say that there is only a one point which satisfies the sine theta equals k. Therefore, we can have set of values. It is because it is actually a circular it is a function which we can extend the values with the circle, and it is not starting from 0 and ending up with 360 or this 25. It is continuing. Even though it is beyond 25, it will extend. That is why we can say that if we are having sine theta is k, then we are having this as the general solution. Here we are not going to find out a specific solution. Therefore, in the value of n, if we are defining n as a specific value, we can get the specific solution. But in generally, we are taking the value of theta. If it is sine theta equals k, then the value of theta is obtained as n phi plus minus 1 to the power n times alpha. And if it is cosine theta, then to find out if cosine theta equals k, to find out the value of theta, we can use this equation. It is 2 times n phi plus or minus alpha. It is because for the cosine function also you see that if suppose that if it is cosine half, then it can have the value at these points. Then this will be another value of x, and this will be another value of x, and this will be another value of x. Therefore, for a single value of cosine theta, we may have several values for theta. Therefore, we can use this as the general solution. Therefore, if you are specifying the value of n, then we can, if it is a defined region, within that region we can identify the specific solution for this function. Otherwise, we have to show it in the general solution. And for the tan theta, if it is that tan theta equals k, then the value of theta is obtained as n phi plus alpha. Therefore, these are the equations that we are used to obtain the general solutions for sine theta equals k, cosine theta equals k, and the tangent theta equals k. And then we have to see about the unit circle. This is for your reference. This is what we have defined as the previously as well. Therefore, we have defined the quadrants 1, 2, 3, and the fourth quadrant. Therefore, in the first quadrant, we have identified that sine, cosine, and tangent all are positive. Here it is say that with the unit circle, here we have drawn a circle having the radius as 1. Therefore, starting from the point 0 comma 0, we are having the circle. Therefore, these points will be 1 comma 0, 0 comma 1, minus 1 comma 0, and 0 comma minus 1. Therefore, since we have used a unit radius, we are defining this as the unit circle, and the values that we have discussed so far has already included in this unit circle. And this is all what I need to discuss for this session, and thank you all for your participation.